Good evening, book lovers. Welcome to another episode of Cath Lit Live. I am your host, Amy Cattapan. You can find me everywhere on social media under my pen name, AJ Cattapan. If you're new here to Cath Lit Live, this is what we do. We bring you interviews with Catholic authors who have new books releasing, so you can always find out the latest and greatest in both Catholic fiction and nonfiction. And if you haven't already, please be sure to check out our sponsor, the Hello Prayer app at hello.com/cathlitlive, or is it hello.app/cathlitlive? I will double check and get it correct when I put it on the screen at the end on the YouTube version of this show. Well, tonight I have a new guest. This is someone I am meeting for the first time, and she is an author of Christian fiction, and we're going to be talking about her latest book, which is actually the second book in her Larksong Legacy series. So we're going to be talking about her book, Dusk Shall Weep, and this is Kelsey Gietl who's going to be the guest tonight. Kelsey Gietl is the author of 6 novels, combining faith, family, and lessons from our past. Her books provide inspirational stories with a dose of romance and a dash of intrigue. She lives in Missouri with her husband, 2 children, and 2 dogs, and is a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution and the Catholic Writers Guild. Please help me welcome to the show, Kelsey Gietl. Hi, Kelsey.
Hi, Amy.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks. Well, welcome to Cath Lit Live. I'm happy to have you here today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And we're talking about your new book, Dusk Shall Weep. So give us the little 30-second elevator pitch. What is this book about?
Sure. And I have a copy here just to show everybody the cover. So Dusk Shall Weep is actually the second book in the Larksong Legacy series. And in general, the series is about 5 brothers who are headed from pre-Civil War South Carolina, up to Washington Territory, where they're hoping to build basically a new town that will be welcoming to all, no matter their race or their station. Everybody's happy to live there. It's primarily historical fiction, takes place in the 1850s, but has a touch of magical realism as all of the brothers possess these special gifts, which are all based in scientific fact. So I don't want to call it fantasy, but they are taken to the next level. For example, the male MC, main character in Dusk Shall Weep, is a physician. So he has like this uncanny knowledge of different medicine and ways to heal people, but he can't just like lay hands and heal people. So it's realistic in that way, but still a bit of the fantastical. The other character in Dusk Shall Weep is Coraline, and she is discovering in their new town, which the new town is not going well to begin with. It's not quite what they expected, but she has a degenerative eye condition where she is slowly going blind, and has recently been widowed on the trail. And so she is trying to figure out how she's going to live this new life, and basically decides that the only way to do it is to trick an honorable man, Jamison, into marriage. Along with all that, they're also dealing with, like, there's growing animosity between the Native Americans and the US government, and they're on the brink of all out war, and just trying to figure out how their family is going to fit into this settler world.
So there's a character here who's going blind. She's losing her eyesight. Tell me about how you handled that, or how you researched that. How do you approach depicting someone who's blind?
Yeah, it was certainly a challenge, because I mean, I have glasses, but that's nowhere near being blind. But that's definitely something I would never want or wish on anyone. And so I definitely had to do a lot of research and had to consider things that I haven't necessarily considered with other characters, such as like all aspects of the environment. So like, what did things sound like? What did they smell like? Like physical vibrations of you're sitting there and you might feel somebody walking across the room, things like that. I even went into my bathroom a few times, turned off the lights, there's no windows in there, and just kind of tried to navigate on my own. And I mean, that room is easy because you know it, but if you were out in like the wilderness in this area you didn't know, it would be very difficult. So one of the ways she gets around is she has a rope and it's like staked from their house to different places and like down to they're by the ocean, so she can go down to the water. But I imagine it would just be so challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as an example of Christian fiction, then I know some Christian fiction, like I consider my first two novels Christian fiction. Some of them are very overtly Christian, and it's obvious. Some are biblical fiction, like my friend Stephanie Lansom. Her first three books were biblical fiction books, right? Like straight out of the Bible, but then adding on the rest. And some are very kind of I don't want to say covert in their Christian, but it's more subtle. So where does your book fall in? Is it tie in directly with the Bible? Is it more subtle Christianity? How do you do that for your novels here?
Sure. And I feel like it's a very delicate balance because I'm Catholic. I mean, this is a Catholic show, but I also have a lot of Protestant readers as well. And so my characters are Catholic. So I definitely want to include those things, but I try to make it in such a way that it appeals to everyone. And I've even had some people who are not necessarily religious enjoy my books as well, because I try to not be too, like in your face about it. But I do like incorporating biblical stories into this Larksong Legacy series. So my first book, For a Noble Purpose, actually was based on the book of Tobit. And then this book has several different stories, three that I kind of incorporated from a thematic perspective. So it's the blind man at the pool of Bethesda, and the woman with the hemorrhage, and the apostles who preach in multiple languages after Christ's resurrection. And so I really drew from the blind man and the woman with the hemorrhage for Coraline's character, and just the thought of, okay, so both of these people had, like, he'd been blind his entire life, and then all of a sudden, like, once he had faith in Christ, like, he could see. And then she's had this hemorrhage for 12 years, spent all her money on doctors, similar to Coraline, and then she comes to faith in Christ and she's cured. So I very much wanted Coraline's character to be that person who used to have faith, has kind of lost it as she just loses hope within this blindness, but then comes back to faith through Christ. And the part about the multiple languages, I'm not going to get into that because that would be too much of a spoiler. But there is a polyglot who's someone who knows multiple languages in the story. And that's where that part comes in.
Okay, let's for our last question here, let's talk about the historical fiction part. What is actually based on history here? How did you tie in maybe some actual fact?
Sure. So I really enjoy history. And so I read way more. Any historical fiction writer will probably tell you that, like, so little of what they research actually makes it into the book, because you really have to learn about the whole thing in order to write about it. I like to say that this is a character focused story that happens to take place in history. But I did really try to, there's a lot of Native American culture that's involved in this time. And I really tried to research that well and incorporate that, especially one of the big parts in this book is the Battle for Seattle in January of 1856. And that was between several Native American tribes and the US government, and basically occurred after several failed negotiations. And unfortunately, this battle over the city of Seattle, like trying to take control of it, ended without much resolution, and pretty much just heartache for both sides. But that was a real life thing. So I really wanted to incorporate that. Although the ending, I will say, it does have a hopeful ending. So it doesn't just end with, oh, nobody won in this war. The other thing that I'd like to mention, again, because this is a Catholic show, and my characters do consider their faith to be very important to them. There was a mission called Stella Maris Mission, which means Star of the Sea. And that was a real life mission that was in the area of Washington Territory my characters live in. And so they actually go there and they celebrate Mass there and meet Father Lionette, who was the actual priest who was there. And he just baptized and converted untold numbers of people at that time over, I think it was like 5 years or so. And there's a church there, St. Mary's, that's there now that you can go and visit. The original mission is gone. I haven't visited it. It's on my list of things to do at some point. But I just love that there was something Catholic there that I could incorporate.
Yeah, great. I love how you incorporated both of those aspects into your book. So tell us where we can find you online if we want to learn more about you and your books. Where should we go?
Sure. So I have a website, and it's just kelseygietl.com. And I have an online store that you can get to from there where I sell signed paperbacks and I sell ebooks, or you can also buy them at most of the major retailers, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can ask your library to buy them. I've had several people do that as well. And, or you can ask your favorite independent bookstore to order them for you too. So there's lots of options. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and you can also sign up for my newsletter if you want like the insider info before anybody else.
Nice. Great. Well, thank you so much, Kelsey. I appreciate you coming on. All right. Well, have a good night. We're going to wave goodbye to Kelsey. Thanks for coming on. All right, everyone. Make sure that you leave a comment if you've read the first book in the series, or this book's been out for a little bit now, so maybe you've even read the second book in the series. If you have, tell us about it in the comments, and of course, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can catch all the future episodes of Cath Lit Live. I'm already scheduling into the summer, and I look forward to bringing you those interviews. So in the meantime, I'm just going to wish everybody happy reading.